Hello everyone, welcome, and I hope you're all having a wonderful day. The reason why I'm wearing the same top as in the previous video, it's not that I haven't changed top for days and days and days, it's just that I decided to film this video as well on the same day, but I knew that the assembly for this video would take quite a long while because it has some parts that were filmed on a different camera and it would take me some time putting it together. And today I thought I would sort of make another tutorial video, this time about how to color your hair silver or platinum blonde. And I'm gonna show you both. I know that right now I'm a bit more platinum blonde than silver, but I have been silver as well, and the steps are very similar. It's just the color that you use at the end that will be a different shade. And here's a picture of me when I was silver. You can see that it's quite silvery. So my natural color, it's very dark brown, almost black, like probably many of you. So it's quite difficult to bring down to this tone. You have a lot of red in the tones and your hair gets a bit orangey. So it took me a while and many YouTube videos and reading about it to sort of understand how it can be done. And since we are at this, I want to say, obviously I'm not a hairdresser, I have no experience as a hairdresser or a colorist or anything like that. I'm just a person that has been coloring his hair for the last 3-4 years. So the things that I'm going to say might work for my hair and you might need to adapt a little bit depending on your type of hair and your color. The reason why I color my hair at home is I used to go to the hairdressers, and that's what I recommend if you can afford it, but it is quite expensive to dye your hair, especially if you need to bleach and dye your hair. I was spending around 160 to 180 pounds in hairdresser, and this was like 3-4 years ago, like I said. Now I would guess the prices are even higher, and while you get normally a more professional and a better result, it's money that not everybody has. And I had a career change in my life where I almost had to start over again in a new career. So starting from the bottom, I could not afford anymore what I was used to, and hairdresser was one of the things that I had to sort of cost cut. On another note, I'm getting a bit tired of having light colors, and I'm glad it's the winter now because I'm gonna dye my hair quite dark again the next time I dye it. I don't like to be always the same color, I like to vary and I get bored very easily. I'm gonna put all the products that I'm gonna be using on the description below, so if you wanna get the same products, you'll know where to get them. So, without further ado, just a little bit of theory. Obviously, to go to a color as light as this, from dark brown, and see my beard, hopefully you can see it, it's very, 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 very dark. You need to use bleach to reach this color. You have to be careful with bleach because, as I'm sure you all know, it's very damaging to your hair. So there are different strategies when bleaching your hair. Some of them might work better for some people than others. I cannot say which one is best or which one is right. What I normally do is I try to do everything within 2 days because I don't like to go to work with orange hair. But I know that some people do it the healthier way for their hair, and what they do is they have one round of bleach, it goes a bit orangey, they don't care, they tone it a little bit and they go to work and whatever, and then after a couple of weeks they bleach it again to get down the remaining levels. And the reason why you do this is because your hair has some time to recover and doesn't get as damaged by the bleach as it does if you do it all in the same day or within 2 days like I do. There is a product that helps when bleaching, which is Olaplex, and I think most hair salons now use it. And what Olaplex does is that it reconnects broken disulfide bonds in your hair, which are broken by bleach and by your hair dyes. So it's really good to use. I wouldn't say there's miracles in my experience. I have heard people saying of how miraculous it is. I only notice a mild difference, but maybe that's because I don't bleach my hair to a level 10 or something like that. I go to 8, maximum 9. I think 10 is very damaging and I don't want to subject my hair to so much damage. So I do use Olaplex when bleaching. You can use it when dyeing as well. Normally Olaplex is something that you find only in professional hairdressers, so if you want to buy it to use at home, especially Olaplex's number 1 and number 2, you won't find that available in shops, at least not that I know of, so I had to order it from eBay. Very quickly, I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm just gonna very briefly explain before going into the video. Darker hair has a lot of red pigment, so when you bleach it, it tends to go orange. In order to neutralize orange or red, the colors that you normally need are violet and blue, because they are opposite colors, so they will neutralize each other. So that will be why you're gonna see me adding blue booster in my mix. I don't have violet at the moment. Blue will do just as fine in this case. The other thing is levels. Your hair needs to be bleached like hell for you to go for a color like this. Google what hair color levels are so that you understand what I mean when I say a 7 or an 8 or something like that. You cannot have your hair bleached to a level 6 or 7 and then you use a color level 9. That's not going to work for your hair, and your hair will continue to be orange or whatever color you have. I would say always bleach your hair at least to the tone that you want to color with, or one tone below of what you want to color with. One tone below works better for me. What professionals and people dyeing their hair at home do many times is that they bleach and then they just add a toner. While that works well if you have sort of lighter hair, if you have your hair as dark as mine, that will work for like a week or 2. Then obviously you're supposed to use a purple shampoo to maintain it, and I do all that. But after a week or 2, it's already getting all yellow and all horrible again. And that's because I'm very dark, so my solution to keep this sort of color for longer is, instead of using a semi or demi-permanent dye, is to use a permanent dye after bleaching. That lasts me longer and requires less maintenance. But obviously that also damages your hair more, so again, like I was saying, I don't go maybe to a level 9 or 10 because of things like that. I use a permanent dye afterwards, which will have peroxide and further damage my hair. At this point you guys can see that my hair is a mix of 3 colors. The roots are my natural color and are very dark brown, while the shaft has been bleached and colored the previous time, and as it is a lighter tone, it will bleach faster this time. The ends have been around for longer and have been subjected to different rounds of bleaching and are even lighter and thinner, so they will be extremely prone to damage. Right, so the first thing that I normally do is putting some coconut oil on my hair. This should sort of protect your hair from the bleach because it's very moisturizing. You're supposed to do this either on the day before or some hours in advance. Today I'm really rushing, so I don't have time for that. I'm just going to put it now and almost do my bleaching straight away. It will still protect a little bit, maybe not as much because your head doesn't have the chance to absorb all the oil. You can use something better, but the one that I have at the moment that is old as hell is one from Boots. Just opening. So the consistency of this one is quite weird. It's like this. It's not very liquid. I don't know if you're supposed to heat it before. I know some people do, and when you heat it, it becomes a lot more liquid. I'm just going to use it like this. It still works. I just rub it on my hands, and then it starts sort of melting, you see? And then I put it on my hair. Okay. So you want to really saturate your hair, and I'm gonna look disgusting after this, so I'm not gonna show you the whole process. To start, you're gonna need a spoon, a mixing bowl and a brush. You can find most of these in shops like Boots or Superdrug or any other shop that sells hair products. For bleaching, I'm going to use the Schwarzkopf Blond Premium Lift 9 Plus, and I'm going to be using the developer and the bleach of the same brand because I know that they work well together. The developer is 30 volumes, and this would be the highest that I would ever use, but in this case I'm also going to add a little bit of Kenra 9 volumes to dilute this 30 slightly because I don't need 30. If you are very dark, you don't need to do this dilution step. And the reason why I'm using 9 volumes is simply because I don't have 10 at the moment. As you are seeing, the bleach is in a powdered form, and for my hair length this amount of powder will be enough. The instructions say that you should use double the amount of developer to the amount of bleach powder that you add. Because I'm using the 9 volumes developer to dilute, I will add 1 measure of powder and then 1 measure of 30 volumes developer and half a measure of 30 and half a measure of 9. That will make it in total 25 volumes in the end. I'm sorry my filming was pretty rubbish and you guys cannot actually see the amounts that I'm adding, but I'm gonna write everything in the description. Don't forget to shake well your developer before you use. I also added around 1/3 of a milliliter of Olaplex, but I forgot to film that bit. Finally, mix all the ingredients very well, first with a spoon so that you don't get bits of powder on your brush, and then you can use the brush to mix better. And finally, I added a little bit of oil with aloe vera to keep some moisture on the hair. You can see in the video that you only need very little. I will need to take my pajama top because otherwise it's gonna get all full of bleach. For my hair size, I don't need a lot of sectioning, so I'm just gonna section as I go. And I'm gonna start at the top. Because sides in your hair, at least if you're a man, they tend to be always a bit darker, they don't get as much sun, so it looks more natural if the sides are darker, so I'm going to start with the top so that the top is slightly lighter. Finally, I'm going to try not to touch my ends at all, because they have been previously bleached and they are a bit frail, so I don't want them to get a bit too frizzy or even start breaking or anything like that. So I'm going to start from the roots at the top and go sort of up to here. Let's see. So I want to bleach all this bit and leave the end for bleaching afterwards. So sides are done. This is how they look like. So properly saturated. Yeah. Now I'm gonna stay like this for a little bit. I'm gonna wait until I do the ends. Right, so I'm back. I'm gonna do the ends now, and what I will do is do new bleach, because around 15 minutes have passed and bleach loses its activity soon after, like 20-30 minutes, so I prefer to just use new one. And what I will do is, since I'm doing new one as well for the ends, I'm gonna do a little bit of a weaker mix. I'm gonna add one part of this and one part of this for 1 part of powder. So this will make it a concentration of around 20 volumes, because you have 30 and 10 being mixed together. At some point, and I don't know if it is because the bleach is sort of blue, your hair will start looking a lot whiter than what it actually is, so be careful with that. Don't wash it before the time is right. Adding a little bit more on the sides just to get a good result. Make sure there's no patches. I think I'm finished for now on the head part, so I'm gonna do the brows as well. For eyebrows, people tend to have their eyebrows always a little bit darker than their hair, so I'm gonna leave my eyebrows a bit less long than the hair, and I cannot tell you the exact time. So for the hair, what I'm gonna do is 15 more minutes now, 15-20, I'll see how it looks like. You really need to see when it starts getting lighter to the shade that you need for the color. So you want it to be a shade around 8 or 9. For the eyebrows, I'm gonna leave it probably 15 minutes, something like that. I'm not sure, I will need to go and check. If it gets too much, it's fine as well, because you can always use a darker shade for your eyebrows. So eyebrows, you just go like the same way as you do the hair, really. I'm gonna do it in front of the mirror because it's easier, and then I'll show you. Make sure you really brush them up to get them really full of bleach, and then brush them down again. My hairs, at least, because they're very dark, they do bleach at different rates, and I will get small patches in my eyebrows of darker hairs and lighter hairs. It already looks quite white, but again, like I said, don't get deceived by looks. The fact that the bleach is blue sort of balances the orange of your hair, and it looks lighter than what actually is once you wash the bleach off. So I'm gonna leave this still 15 more minutes, 15-20. I'll check, and hopefully we'll be alright. I've washed the brows now. They don't need to go any lighter than this, because I'm gonna dye them of a sort of dark blonde / light brown, so this is fine. I know they're orange, but they're not gonna be orange when I'm done with them. I'm gonna put a lot of blue in them. Right, so it's quite light now. It's probably not gonna get any better than this. This light is not really helping. Probably not gonna get any better than this. Unfortunately, on the sides there's still a little bit of copper under the top hairs. I think that's alright, because it's gonna be hidden. I'll probably, when I cut it, I'll need to bleach it again on the sides, but yeah. The tips, I don't think you can see, but they're getting dangerously white, so I'm gonna wash it now. So this is after blow drying the hair. You can see how light it is at the moment. The room is quite yellow, so maybe it looks a bit more yellow on the camera than what it is. It still has some orangey undertones, but this is fine. So I normally use a permanent dye, and this will keep the hair the same color for a bit longer, maybe a month, something like that. It will eventually fade anyway. Okay, so here we are again. I've thoroughly washed my brush. You sort of need to do this because if there's any bit of bleach left in your brush, it's just going to sort of degrade the dye. I am going to use the Kenra color. There's many alternatives. I'm going to use these ones because I've used them before and they are quite good. I haven't used this shade before, so that's a new one for me. Normally I dye my hair silver or something like that. It's probably the first time that I'm doing platinum blonde. So this shade is 9A and it's called Light Blonde Ash. At this point I want to tell you what to do if you wanted to dye your hair silver, because I've done that many times before. So To go silver, I would recommend something from the SM range. So SM stands for silver metallic. I normally use the 7SM. You can see that it's fully used. But if you want a lighter shade of silver, you can go with the 8SM. You might want to use a booster as well, and here I'm going to use a booster just to sort of neutralize the orangey undertone. So I'm going to use the blue booster. Blue, yeah, focus, okay, good. And you only use a very little amount of this. If you are doing silver, like I was saying, then I would say you could use either the blue and the violet booster or just the violet, because it goes really well with silver. This colors mix in a ratio of 1:1, and that just means that you're going to use, for every part of coloring cream that you're going to use, you should use 1 part of developer. I suggest that you do something 15 to 20 developer. I have a 20 developer, but because my hair is a bit damaged already from all the bleachings that I have been doing, I'm going to mix the 20 with the 9, which is like a 10 really, which will make a 15. So I'm going to use a spoon of coloring cream. I measure it like that in spoons because it's difficult to measure when it's something like this consistency. Then I added a dash of the 7SM, so the silver metallic, even though I'm not going silver, but just because it has some sort of violet-y, silvery undertones that might look nice as well. I only added very little because it's easy for your hair to go more towards a silver sort of tone, and this is a level 7, so it will definitely overtake the 9A. Then I added the blue booster to neutralize any orange that I might have in my hair, and this is the dash that you can see on the left side of the spoon. Then before you add the developer, you mix all the coloring creams very well. This will make the mixing more efficient. Finally, I added approximately half a spoon of the 20 volume developer and then half a spoon of the 9 volume developer. This will make it around 15 volumes. Mix very well, first with the spoon and then with the brush, and you will be good to go. So right, let's start again. This is going to be pretty much the same way that we applied the bleach. So just saturate our hair with the dye, make sure that there's no beads that are missing. What I'm going to try to do is apply, and again, like we did with the bleach, save the ends a little bit for the end, just because they are a bit too damaged, and the less peroxide that they're exposed to, the best.
Every day it's snowing, since I was told that you don't want me. Baby, you're just cold and you know I try.
So for the brows, I'm using the 9A again, a little bit. I'm using the blue booster a little bit as well, a dash, and I'm using the 7SM in a higher proportion than before. So this is like probably 1/4 or 1/3 of the 9A, and I'm using a little bit of 7.13 from Olia. I know this is a different chemistry, but it's just for the eyebrows, and I know it works because I've tried it before. It is, I think, quite... It is basically what we wanted to achieve, really. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions regarding the process, feel free to ask in the comments. I'll be happy to answer, or if I don't know, try to find out for you. Hope you all have a wonderful day and good luck dyeing your hairs. Bye!